Hey guys, quick video for idler pulley. Since I rebuilt the engine, I decided to check the bearing for this idler pulley. This gets attached with the power steering pump. Power steering pump goes here, and this is the tensioner pulley because you can adjust the tension of the belt, serpentine belt. How you do it, this is the bolt, this is the rear side of this bracket. This bolt is actually move this nut basically mounted on this bolt. So when you clockwise or anti-clockwise turn this bolt, this nut shape basically is a U shape, but it's a nut which actually used to attach this pulley on this nut, and nut move up and down. So I'm going to back it up and down. So using this to bolt, you can turn left and right, and you can tighten the serpentine belt. The only thing is, when I was actually painting and making this bracket shining, so what I did actually, I used a wire brush and using my angle grinder and clean it up all the rust, and I use a product, it actually convert the rust into paintable surface. That's what it says from Walmart. So that's this is not the paint, this is the product you spray on. But before doing that, I actually wire brushed the entire rusty surface, and then I sprayed it. It's a black color, but it's not a paint. So when I was actually checking this pulley, I found the pulley was actually the bearing. It has a small bearing, ball bearing, single track. Was actually grinding a bit. So this is the old ball bearing. So I open it up, the seal. So this is a both sides seal. The black thing is a metal seal. So if you use a pick and pry open this shield, you will see the ball bearing and its cage. So when I was actually checking this, I felt it was actually grinding a little bit. So basically, if it's a original one on this pulley, it means it's 20 years old at least. So assuming it never got changed. So what I did, I went to the different shops, auto parts, and I was looking for this bearing. So in this video, I'm going to give you the bearing size. It can be any brand, as long as the code for this bearing is 203FF, and this is a Timken brand. I bought it from a store, local store, but you can also buy another brand. I had some, for a reason, I rebuilt one tractor transmission, and it is used as a pilot bearing, so it's a different brand. This one cost you $3-4. This is Timken brand, so it's cost me $5.99 plus tax. So you can use any brand. You don't have to pry open and fill with more grease. I was told it should have enough grease, so you don't have to mess with this seal. However, how you're going to remove this bearing? This bearing is mounted on this pulley with the press fit. So you need a vise or press, hydraulic press to put it, but I did not do that. Instead of doing that, I actually, since it was a kind of rusty bearing on both sides, so these, if you see, the middle part is not rusty, but edges, both side of edges is rusty, because this is the front. If you see, this rust is little thicker than the back side, this side. So this is the front, and it means this rusty part was outside the pulley space, and the back side is also. So you have to actually, when you push it back, a new bearing, you have to keep this these spaces. You cannot just push it all the way and flush with the pulley hole. You have to keep this much out. This is for the alignment. So if I move this side, you can see it should be aligned. I mean, eyeball it. I don't know. I mean, if it's aligned or not. As long as it keeps the tension and doesn't let the belt slip out of it. So this one is also rusty, so I painted it shining, riding, and painted with the same product. So what you need to do is, I use a socket of this same size, not big, not small, and I put so this, I believe, can go either way. You can push it from the front inside, or remove it from front towards this side, or you can do it backside. But I saw another YouTube video, excellent video. I used that as a guide, and I actually pounded the socket from the back side, so the bearing came out this way. And since it came out this way, I put it back from the same side. So I did not try to mess with the rear side. However, if bearing is exactly same, so both openings should be same. But the logic says, since it has less rust, it should be able to come out from this side. So use your judgment. But what I did before I attempted using the socket method, I actually put a lot of rust solution, or the, what I call is this product, PB. So PB Blaster I used, and soak it overnight wherever I can see. So around the bearing, some liquid wrench or anything that can penetrate the rust part, so it should be able to slip out easily. And I did apply in a circular fashion the torch to make it warm before I put the PB Blaster, so it can make some space and penetrate more. So I did due diligence before I actually start pounding the socket. But the next day, actually, when everything was, I thought like it's ready, gently tap it out. No need to use it, but to make it budge, you have to actually pound at least 1 or 2 with this big hammer, a little bit, very gently. It's still a big hammer, but gently, and it can come out. And then you can clean this inner circumference or the opening with the light emery paper. Clean it up, any debris or any rust build up, and paint it, clean the paint. So I did paint it everything, but I removed the paint inside, so bearing doesn't need to struggle. And after that, I put it back, push back the new bearing, and it's good. So also for people who doesn't have this engine outside, and they have to for some reason this idler pulley is making noise right now. If I spin it, there's no noise because it's a new bearing. For people who are actually investigating this pulley or the noise, some bearing noise or some kind of weird noise when they run the engine, I suggest remove the belt. Use a lot of because this bolt gets rusty, because when I remove it, it has a lot of rust. So make sure any attempt you do, before doing that, you should apply some rust remover product before at least 24 hours before you do the attempt. This bracket is a whole thing. 1 bolt goes here to keep it attached to this block side, and 2 bolts goes on here. 1 here, 1 here, 3 bolts keep this bracket with the engine block. This one, so before actually using this bolt to slide this pulley up and down in this groove on this bracket, you have to actually lose this bolt gently, a little bit. Do not take it out the whole thing, because it has a spacer as well as there are two spacers. One goes on the back, one is on the front, but it is also a bush, also a spacer a bush attached to the spacer. So it keeps everything aligned and tidy. So before actually adjusting this pulley, you have to actually apply a good amount of rust remover, at least 24 hours. That's my opinion, in a hot summer day. And then lose this few threads, so you can feel this start pulling will start wiggling back and forth a little bit. So it's not really rigid, binded or stuck to this metal plate, so it can slide smoothly up and down. Otherwise you're going to mess up the threads and everything, because now it's painted. And once I'll actually put my belt on, I will tie it up, and hopefully I don't have to move it. If I have to move it, I'm going to first lose this bolt. So is this bolt actually going to pinch this whole thing with this plate? So you don't want that before using this. So lose this first, lose this one in any direction to adjust this pulley, and you should be good to go. So one thing, like so how to troubleshoot if this pulley is making noise or the bearing of this pulley is bad, is basically remove the belt, do not start the engine, and just use this pulley and spin it and feel it, or maybe like this. So you will feel, if you make all 360-degree circle with this finger, you will feel if there is a bearing or rust buildup inside the ball bearing. You will feel the resistance or grinding very gently. You don't have to run the whole engine, because then you cannot isolate where the noise is coming. So if this is not, then check this water pump. So same thing, it has also a bearing, so you have to feel if it's grinding, binding. So it should be smooth. This is the balancer, harmonic balancer. I put in a new one. So for this one also, because this is not solid metal, it has two pieces, and both pieces are joined with the rubber molded inside between, so it's sandwiched. So once it gets old, the rubber actually is deteriorated, or when it goes bad, so you have to replace it, otherwise it will wobble. But it doesn't create the noise because it doesn't have bearing, but it does create the wobble that you can see while the engine is running. You can see from this side angle, and you can see this circular motion is not smooth. It's like wobbling at one side. This side, I put the bracket for the AC condenser unit and the alternator. I haven't mounted yet. I'm rebuilding the alternator. And probably once I'll install the engine, then I will put it on, because otherwise my engine will become very heavy even for the hoist. So that's what it is. So it's about the pulley. I hope I may have added some of more useful tips if you are not aware, but this is the whole piece for the tensioner pulley, and this is the place where you mount your power steering pump. That's all. Thank you.